Okay, I'm Jerry Bailey, and we're running car number 9 for this event.
And tell me about your car.
Well, it's a Lancia Stratos replica. It's not a real one.
A Hawk or a...
It's a Hawk, yeah, and it's in the camel livery. And Cathal Curley, who was one of the works Chequered Flag drivers back in the day, he's going to come over and drive the car as well on the event. So that'll be good fun.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So tell me a little bit about the car. So obviously I'm aware of the Hawk kits and so on. Explain about the donor, and did you build it yourself or did you buy it?
No, I didn't build it myself. I bought it mostly like it is now, but we've changed a few things on there. It's got an Alfa Romeo V6 3-litre engine in the back, but it's only really a road car. It's not in full competition spec. So we'll be just doing demonstration runs where you won't be trying to keep up with the quick boys this weekend. But they're very much built like the originals were. All the bodywork fits on the originals. All the suspension pickup points are virtually identical to the original, and I'm told they're very similar to drive to the originals. So they are a pretty authentic replica. They're not just a look-alike. They are a true simile of the original cars.
Right. Thank you very much. Good luck for the weekend.
Thanks very much.
Anything that I've come to in the UK has been extremely enjoyable. I was at the over last year at the Mintax. We had a wonderful time. I have a wonderful owner of this very precious car here, which I have to drive with special consideration to getting to the end in its present shape, rather than getting to the end and it looking like a bean tin that was opened, so we have to be careful, but thank heavens it's not a speed job. You can have a bit of fun without getting too reckless, but it's wonderful. And the people, honestly, the friendliness of the people, the competitors, and the marshals and everyone associated with the rally. I mean, it's really a pleasure to be here, and Tim Nash deserves every ounce of credit for his efforts. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful.
I'm going to say you're driving a Stratos. What are they like to drive?
Well, a bit like a bull in a china shop sometimes. If you treat it with respect, it's okay. If you try to do fancy things with it, it's not okay, and the owner goes unconscious. So we don't want to be responsible for fatalities of any kind, whether it's a car fatality or it's a human fatality. So I have to drive according to my instructions from my very generous and very brave owner, Jerry.
Yeah, because I notice he hasn't given you any camel overalls to wear. He's not that confident.
Well, he said that they didn't have anything in my size.
They didn't do children's sizes.
I'm a pretty petite type of guy, not too big, not too wide, not too tall,
I just want to thank Tim for the event he put on. There's a lot of work goes on into these events behind the scenes. We take a lot of it for granted, me included. but there's a lot of organisation, a lot of time, a lot of sweat, and as you can see, a lot of problems. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I competed with the great Roger and Russell Brooks and Tony Pond, Barry Lee, and sometimes they beat me and sometimes I beat them. We won the Circuit of Ireland, we won Donegal 3 years running, we won the Ulster, we won the Bank International, Roger was in it. He wasn't easy to beat. But the other thing I want to say is that it's appreciated, all you people, and the smiles on all you people. And it's a fun time, and it's a fun time for everyone, except the lack of time. The other thing I want to say is there's a gentleman here called Jerry Bailey, and not alone is he a gentleman, but he's very, very, very brave. He offered me he offered me a drive in his Lancia Stratos, and I'm really stuck for words, and I'm not normally stuck for words, but I would just like to sincerely thank Jerry for the courage, the patience, and the temperament that he showed all day whenever I was trying to drive his Stratos. And just to say to everyone here, thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure. And I would like to invite anyone here who is of a vintage type to come to Ireland to some of our deja vus. They're absolutely fabulous, and you will be more than welcome, I can assure you. I look forward to seeing some of you anyway. Serious, great event, all fun from start to finish. Again, I'll just finish by thanking Ted for having me, thanking Louise for sitting beside me, and Pauline sitting on the other side to make sure I behave myself. And thank you very much for the patience in listening to me. Thank you.
Can I just say before we go back to eating, drinking, and chatting, perhaps we'll just ask Castle to tell us about what happened last time you drove a Stratos.
Well, I would be delighted to tell you, provided someone switches the lights on. The last time I drove a Stratos, I drove it for Chequered Flag. But the Stratos that we started with in Chequered Flag was a Stratos that was equipped with Fiat 127 calipers in this. Now, I don't know how many people here are familiar with a Fiat 127, but it's a little bubble car. And Ron Pallet, who is a mechanic in Chequered Flag, suggested to me that we put air ducts opposite the front calipers to increase the airflow. 3 pumps and the pedal went to the garage. We went to Ypres in the car, and honestly, no bullshit, the only way I could get it stopped at speed was to jam it in second gear, let the clutch out and trail the two back wheels. That is an absolute fact. So I eventually went back to Graham Warner, who was a lovely man, and I said, Graham, I'm not driving that car. And I said, there's no one else who will be able to drive it either. And Per Wolfenson, who was Finnish, tried the car in the forest. He just said, no, I can't drive that car, it won't stop. On top of that, the suspension damping, it would remind you of a go-kart. There was no damping in the suspensions. So Ron Pallet, who was the chief mechanic, finished up on John Watson's Formula 1 crew, put the car in the trailer and took it to Turin in Italy. Stripped it beside the works car. At this stage, I had acquired a 911. When he stripped the car, he found that the works car that was just having won the Monte Carlo Rally, found that the brakes were those of a Fiat 125, which was a big saloon car, you know, the Sierra type car, and the calipers and the discs were off that same vehicle, and the damping was 3 inches, and our damping was 1/2 inch. It would just remind you of a go-kart, and then you couldn't get it stopped. Now, to drive that car in Donegal in that condition, the very least you would have had to do was make a will. Because there's a fair chance you weren't going to see tomorrow, you know. So I packed in the Stratos. Ron Pollock took it to touring, as I told you. He had the proper brakes on it, got the proper suspension in it, and I suppose at that stage, the likes of Billy Coleman and the guy that drove for Chequered Flag, what do you call him?
Andy Dawson.
Andy Dawson drove the car, but the car was, and I'm not making excuses, because we proved our ability. The car was not drivable in the state I got it. And when Andy Dawson and Billy Coleman were driving it, it was a completely different car, and it was a super car. I drove it once, testing it, and it was just chalk and cheese. It was a completely different car altogether.